Hi, welcome to Bobby's Viral Friends. I'm Bobby Collins. I have a couple of special people with me, very special people with me
What do you mean by that?
But this first young lady, and I should say young, she's a veteran comic. You've seen her on talk shows. She talks about being a woman, a wife, a mother. She's a storyteller. She's really wonderful. She cracks the audience up. Put your hands together and welcome Ms. Maryellen Hooper.
Hello. Yeah, you can't have it both ways. You can't say veteran and young. You
Right.
can't.
Yes, we can. Also today with us, ladies and gentlemen, you've seen him, oh God, on every talk show, Tonight Show, The Letterman Show. He's done a bunch of films. He was living with our mutual friend, Jerry Seinfeld. He was even best man at his wedding. He had a 10-year stationed over in the Flamingo homage at the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas. Ladies and gentlemen, an old friend, a good friend, and a funny son of a bitch. Put your hands together and welcome Mr. George Wallace.
Hello, Maryellen. How are you?
How are you, sweetheart?
Why don't we just talk? Because he's fucking it up. Come on, let's talk. You call him very young.
I am. I'll do it over later.
You call me legend and old. You got to get it together. Now, I was at the Flamingo.
I said an old friend, a legend in comedy, a great guy, a funny son of a bitch.
Oh, now you talking about my parents. Now you calling me a son of a bitch. I had a daddy, okay? I had a daddy.
All right. First of all, how are we doing all at home? George, what are you doing at home? March 25th?
I'm home since March 24th. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm in Wakanda. You know, we call Atlanta Wakanda.
Right.
That's where all the black people live, you know? So it's...
I'm darker than you.
Who?
I'm blacker than you. Stop it.
You are. And your teeth are whiter, too. What the hell? Where'd you get your new teeth?
He's been making out with Chernobyl.
Right?
Right.
Are you old enough to remember Chernobyl, Maryellen? What do you know about Chernobyl? You're not that old.
You know what? I read about it in history class.
It wasn't even in history. That's how old it was.
Right. It's so
Meanwhile, I got Lysol under my arms and I got an LED light in my ass. Look where we're at in this country.
I'm just thinking of it as a vacation. It's a vacation. I'm at home. I'm not going to have any money at the end of this vacation, but you know, whatever. And it's hard. I mean, if you watch the news.
Can you talk about that for a second? Are you okay? Because a lot of comedians we're living month to month and paycheck to paycheck. And after this drought here, some of us could be hurting, you know, so it could be bad.
Yeah.
Well, I'm lucky because I married into money.
Okay. Well, I just want to know because it's funny we do jokes, but I don't actually know when I'm going to go back on stage. I'm not comfortable just yet, you know. And I'm in Las Vegas at the Westgate, and they want to open tomorrow, right?
That's a little soon.
Maryellen, don't you think that's a little soon because we're in crowds?
I think that's way too soon, unless you have a trap door that you can escape and you don't have to meet VIPs or you don't have to do, but still, you know, the mic.
There. What about
who's been checking the mic?
Yeah, what about me? I'm talking to the people. What about me? What if I got it? I'm protected and I spit a lot.
It's part of your lore.
God, isn't Atlanta opening up? Isn't Georgia opening up, George?
Man, don't bring that up, okay?
No.
That's in the news. That's stupid. You know what's pissing me off? Maryellen, do you see these guys? Now, the governor of Georgia, he's an idiot, right? He opened up the state of Georgia too soon, right?
I agree.
He's not a man. He's not a man. Trump told him he's not man enough to say, Trump is now saying, I'm not pleased with him. I'm not pleased with him. Trump is the one that told him to open up.
I know.
The governor of Georgia doesn't have balls enough to say, you're the one that told me. I'm pissed on a lot of people. You shouldn't have gotten on that. So I'm pissed at Dr. Fauci.
George, don't watch the news. You're on vacation.
I don't watch it till 6 o'clock. I watch it all day. I'm easy. My blood pressure goes up. But Dr. Fauci is one of the smartest men in the world. Why don't he just walk the fuck off and say, look, enough of this bullshit. He could get fired. What does it matter if he gets fired? He'll make more money if he gets fired. You know, just somebody got to stand up and tell the truth. What the fuck are you talking about, Clorox?
Right. Why doesn't one of the reporters or somebody just raise their hand and go, What the fuck are you talking about? You know, nobody's doing it. All the guys around him lick ass. Oh, Mike
And
Pence.
every journalist there should follow up on the last question. If he didn't answer it properly, they should follow up and answer the same question.
Right.
Fuck him. Excuse my language, Maryellen. I know you're a
That's
beautiful
all right.
lady.
I'm never going to work for Disney again, but keep going.
Guess what? Everybody that did this is going, what the fuck right now? Trust me.
My husband works at Disney. I know. That's what he and I are on vacation right now.
George, her husband's a big shot at Disney Cruise Lines.
See, I work for the cruise.
Okay. You're not going to open until 2021 though, right?
You know what? They're not saying. That's just people speculating. I can't think if that happens, then I'm going to be with the other comedians that are, you know, telling knock jokes for nickels on the corner.
I literally had 4 months cancellations. 4 months. So I'm out to June. And that was like, my wife's waking up every day. What are we going to do? I go, honey, we're good. What do you do? Bobby, you got to clean that. Scrub that. Go do that. Go wash it. That.
But it's hard to keep safe. We were here for Easter, and I got little kids, and so somebody dropped off in the evening Easter baskets with flashlights and hid eggs all over my yard. And the boys come running in, going, "Look what somebody left us. We don't know." And I'm like, "Drop the basket!" And I'm like disinfecting candy and eggs, and my kids are like, "This tastes like bleach." I'm like, "You're welcome." Who would do that?
That's where Trump got this information from. You're the one.
You're the one.
Who would drop a mysterious, you don't know us, but here's some candy, and we put our hands all over it? Like, what?
I mean, I'm the only one without a stationary. I got a stationary pod, but I'm holding it like an idiot. So you guys, if I move around a little bit, it's because I'm not up to date on this.
George,
stuff.
you could do whatever you want, my brother from another mother. Come on. I remember meeting you at Catch a Rising Star in New York City. and you and, oh God, David Brenner, all the guys that I looked up to, we would all start working together, and it was just an honor. Do you remember those days?
Let me tell you something. There's nothing like those days. Maryellen, I wish you could have experienced those days back in New York when we would leave the club and go next door to the Green Kitchen, and we would, before the word networking was out, that's what we did. We just, matter of fact, the club didn't close till 4, and we'd go over there and have breakfast and help each other with a joke or whatever, just bonding. It was just a brotherhood. What do you call it? Fraternity?
I was right behind you. I was in New York, but I was out on the island. So I was doing Governors and East Side and Chuckles and Jimmy's Comedy Alley. And I was out there. I would go into the city and my car got broke. Huh?
You are old then, right?
She's not that old. She's
There's
adorable.
wing nuts holding it off. Well, I opened for Andrew Dice Clay at Pips.
Oh, in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn. And that was not wise booking. Because
Right.
But you did learn from doing that. What'd you get, $25? Or you got the whole weekend for $6? What was it?
Well, I got my car broken into, so I kind of lost.
Oh, God.
You got your car broken into on the beach? They broke into your car on the beach?
My car was at a parking meter and was up on blocks, and all 4 tires were gone. And there's people that outside eating. I'm like, "Did you not see?" They're like, "We thought it was his car." I'm like, "You don't take all 4 tires." What are you talking about? Yeah, it was terrible.
God, that was your car?
You know, it's funny, coming from New York, I would always just do Catch a Rising Star, the Improv, and that other little club on 30th Street. I forget, Good Times.
Good times. Rico.
Rico and his wife. And that's how I met Rick Newman. Rick was in there visiting Rico. He called me over to the table. I didn't know him. He goes, "Hey, you're really good. How would you like to come up and MC at my club?" I go, what's your club? He goes, Catch a Rising Star. I went,
Wait a
yeah,
second.
I'd love to.
Wait a second.
Okay.
Wait a second. You didn't know?
No, I didn't know.
You didn't know about Catch a Rising Star, but you went to Good Times first?
No, I went to Good Times first because I just started out. And then Rick Newman was friends with Rico.
You did it all backwards, dude. You're supposed to have gone to Catch a Rising Star first.
I did it. I did the other one 2 weeks, and then I became the MC up there with Bill Maher and what was the girl's name? George.
Adrian Toast.
Toast. God, thank God I'm talking to someone that remembers stuff.
I'm good, dude. I'm good.
I remember.
Oh,
Okay, do you guys remember Betty's Fireside?
no.
It used to be a strip club. I made more money in tips than I did a paycheck. They
Betty
had the same
Fireside?
clientele.
Where was that?
I want to say it was in Jersey. I may be wrong, but I was driven there. But there was the bar, and then the stage behind where the dancers would be, and they kept it that way. So you're performing in front of the bartenders, and people are the same clientele, so they're throwing money at you.
Oh, God.
And I was like, so anyway.
Hi.
Hey, Bobby, did you ever work I worked Chicago once. I was with Diana Ross. I was on before her, and people threw money at the stage. At first, I thought it was an insult, but I didn't know. Has that ever happened to you, Bobby?
You know, it's funny that we got so many good road stories, but no one's ever thrown money. No one's ever. I've
They
had
didn't
a
throw
lot
money at me. They threw money to the stage.
Nice.
At the stage.
I would have lifted up my shirt.
Well, then they stopped throwing money for that. Okay.
Who have you opened up for? Who have you toured with?
I had a really fun time for a couple years with Winona Judd,
Nice.
which was fun because, I'm redheaded. So
I was just gonna say, yeah.
Talking, and this guy in front was finally like, when are you going to start singing?
She loves to talk. She's funny. She loves me. I love her too. And you work with Winona? Who else did you work with?
I opened for a lot of the older groups like me, it'll be like one guy that's still alive, like the Tokens or Jay
From that
and
one group.
Yeah, so I did a lot of that. Not a whole lot of concert stuff except for big ones was Winona. Well, the funniest thing was I used to do that Fashion Police in Us Magazine where they would give you pictures of celebrities and you'd make jokes about their outfit. Right. So I'm sitting on Winona's tour bus and I got my mail. So I open it up and I pull out a picture and it's her. And it was like going,
oh, wow.
That's when I quit. I'm like, I can't. She's like, no, I want you to do it because you'll be nicer. It was so surreal when I actually lifted it up. I was like, oh, I can't. This is my bread and butter. I can't.
George, give me a good road story. Who have you opened up? You've opened up for what?
Let me tell you, something happened to me. I started back in 1979.
Yeah.
Now, my first Tonight Show was 1979. And back in the day, if you remember, Maryellen, and I hope you do, back in the day, if you did the Tonight Show back in the day, you were somebody the next day.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I did the Tonight Show on a Thursday night. Friday night, I was in front of 17,000 people opening for Natalie Cole.
Wow.
At the University of Illinois and the Southern Illinois, 17,000. I worked with her. Then I went straight with George Benson. And from George Benson, I went right to Diana Ross. I worked with Diana Ross for a year and a half.
Whoa.
Then I went with Tom Jones for 5.5 years. I never wanted to be in television or movies. All I ever wanted to do was be a stand-up comedian. My ultimate goal was to get to Las Vegas. I never knew, to this day, I don't know anything about all of the television shows. I was talking to Seinfeld about it yesterday. I've been working all my life, even during college. I had to go to night school and work during the day. I know nothing about television, but I've been working all my life. Tom Jones, Diana Ross, you name it. I worked for Smokey Robinson, Helen Reddy. I worked Paul Anka. I worked for everybody. Donna Summer. Oof. You name it.
Give me a good road story. Give me a good road story. We've all worked for good people, well-known people. You got a crazy good one?
I don't know whether it's good or not, but I used to open for Tom Jones, and that's how I became probably a decent comedian. I had to do 45 minutes in front of Tom Jones.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's a lot.
And the same ladies every night, too. The same ladies, so I had to change up a lot.
That's hard.
Whoa.
So they told me, said, look out because down front, the first 200 or 300 seats might be open because same ladies come. But those ladies supported me every night they came, and they threw underwear on the stage with me. I used to say, "Eat your heart out, Tom Jones." But he would be backstage. We were very good friends, 5.5 years. One of the greatest people I've ever worked for in my life. And he would be backstage, and I'd get a standing ovation and things like that. He'd say, "Get your black ass off the stage." get your black ass.
Don't do
Tom
that.
said that to you? Tom said that?
Yeah, we were that close. You know, we were that close, and it was just so funny because, and that's not even a good story. That's just a story I went into. But working with him was just great. I learned a lot by working with Tom, doing 45 minutes, and having to do a different show every night at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know, comedians opening up for bands. We don't do that anymore. Now it's the different thing. Anybody got a story on that?
Well, let me tell you, I was back in 1980s. I had a week off from Diana Ross, Tom Jones, one of them. I had an opportunity to go to Brandeis University in Massachusetts, I think. And I was open for a group called Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes. Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes. And I had to do 45 minutes. And they said, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy an evening of music with Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes.
People go crazy.
But first,
Right. I
ladies
know
and
this.
gentlemen, George Wallace. I got a little applause. I walked out on stage and I said, hello, Brandeis University, how you doing? Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes. Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes. I said, I'm George Wallace. I'm not going to be out here long, but I got to finish my act, and I'm going to stay up here and do my time no matter what you say. Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes. South, whole 45 minutes. I stayed up there, though.
You got paid.
I got paid.
One time I was opening up for Cher. I did an 86 city for Cher, an 86 city tour. And the first time I got up, we were in some place in the Midwest, and it was a huge outside stage, 31,000 people. I couldn't even, people were up in trees. And
right.
And they went, and she was 2 hours late. She would never take a plane. She would always take the bus. And I was there, and I'm waiting, and I'm like, wow, I've never played this. I did a comedy club 2 nights ago, but I've never played this big, you know, and I'm like, wow, people in trees. And then they went, she came, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome comedian Bobby Collins. I've never heard so many boos in all my life because she was late 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Even the people from the trees were throwing branches. And I looked at the audience and I said, hey, I got to be out here anyway for a half hour. So we could either make a choice. We could boo or we could just go have some fun. After 5 minutes, I had them. After a half an hour, they were cheering. I got off the stage. I called up my wife, a girlfriend at the time, and she goes, how was it? I go, the sides of my armpits right down to my underwear are sopping wet.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
my
amazing.
God.
That's
It's
amazing.
So scary.
All those great
Crazy.
stories.
I had a story once I opened up in the Catskills, right?
Yeah.
And I had been doing comedy less than 4 months. Some guy named Irvin Delvin was training us to be a comedian. I went to school, right? And they thought I was good enough. I didn't even know what the hell I was doing stock jokes. Stock jokes. So I'm up there in front of all of these old Jews, the smartest people in the world when it comes to comedy, right? I went on stage for 45 minutes again. I didn't get, after 2 minutes, I got nothing.
No response?
4 minutes. No, nothing. 15 minutes. No, nothing.
No!
But I stayed up there, and they had to look the clickers on the glass.
Right.
And after 45 minutes, I walked off, not one laugh, but I stayed up there. That's how bold, how bad I was. I stayed up there. But that hurt.
Was that your hardest room you ever played, George?
It hurt so badly. So let me tell you, my mom had died already.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it was nothing. My mom's funeral was nothing compared to this. I wanted to drive off the Tappan Zee Bridge. It was bad. It was brutal. I had never done that. And it hurt so badly. You just have no idea how bad it was. I didn't know what to do. And I went back there like 4 years later, and the latest little old Jewish lady, 80 years old, she tapped me on the back. She says, much better this time, eh?
When you think nobody's going to remember. Yeah.
Maryellen, what was one of your toughest rooms you've ever played, honey?
Well, I want to say it was Montana, and it was a casino, and it was literally in the middle of the casino with all of the bang, 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 bang,
Oh.
bang. And put up a stage in the middle. And I went up there, and this guy walks up to the stage, and he's like, I'm sick of you women trying to tell me what to do, or like I hadn't even started yet. And he undoes his pants and he's threatening me with things. And and I just looked at the security guard on the side of the stage. I go, exactly what do you have to do to get thrown out of here? Because this isn't it.
That's amazing.
The mic stand, I was ready to. So then I just said, well, maybe we should have the DJ play us a song to remember this moment. Do you have It's a Small World? You know, like I was trying anything.
Yeah.
Hey guys, have you ever been on the stage and it was so bad that I know we've all endured this, but have you ever been on the stage and you just said, fuck it, I'm out of here, and walked off?
I've never done that.
Me either.
I've never done
that.
Have
but
you? Tell
my life
me.
was in danger.
Tell us.
It was a biker club. Like you get to the gig and there's just all the bikes lined up.
Listen,
and
you said that to comedians, all you gotta do is say bikers. We already know. Bikers.
Right.
Right. Everybody's like, oh. And I had saddle shoes on and a poodle skirt. Every woman in there, I was the girl that made her life miserable in school. So as soon as I walked on the stage, they start chanting about what they were going to do to me. So the owner grabs me, and he had a rug, and he wrapped it around me, and he ran outside, threw me in the car, and he goes, go, 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 go.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh,
they wrapped you up in a rug? That's where they got the idea in the movie.
I thought for sure he was going to kill me.
What's the movie? The Irishman. The Irishman.
Yes.
They wrapped up in the rug.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's different. I think, you know, being a woman, especially like the comedy condos and stuff, you know, you show up and you're, I'm going to live with 2 new guys. I don't know, you know. So most of the time you lock your door. I would say 90% of the men were awesome, like you guys, you know, and I felt safe and protected. But, you know,
there's a few assholes out there. There are a few assholes.
There's a few Me Too moments, you know, we got to have them. But
I remember one time, if I may, she took a break for 3 weeks, and they got same management. They said, would you run over? Can we fly you over and open for Frank Sinatra for 3 weeks? I go, you know, we're still a business. I go, how much? I'm from New York. How much? Right?
You said how much?
Yes, I did.
Oh my God, you're crazy.
And they flew me over to Salt Lake City, and his guy, Jilly, this big guy, 6'7". You remember him?
Jilly, yeah.
Jilly says to me, okay, don't go right in the car. We're getting there. He goes, don't call him Frank. It's Mr. Sinatra. All right. Don't talk to him until he talks to you. And I'm listening. My wife's Italian. She loves Frank Sinatra. I'm in a business. I'm here to make people laugh. I'm going to be a gentleman. I'm going to be kind. We go in there. There's people all around this big table with him sitting in the middle answering phones. And they're introducing me. People are named after parts of the body. Bobby, this is Johnny the Foot. This is Stevie the Arm. And I'm being the gentleman. Hi, Mr. Arm. Hi, Mr. Foot. Right? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God. And then, hey, boss, they're hollering out to Frank. What's her name? She was a stripper over there in Hoboken. Oh, give her 2 tickets. Okay, she can have 2 tickets. And then one day, right then, a phone rang. He picked it up. They all stopped. He picked it up, and I'm like, why does he not usually pick up the phone? And I hear, because I'm sitting right near him, and I hear somebody, hey, we need the sub-star, the opening act. We need the sub-star to come out for a sound check. He says to the guy, he's a comedian, put the power on. And he hangs up, and he looks at me, and he goes, you okay with that? I go, no problem. I got it. No problem. We're good. Oh, my God.
I met him one time. I met Frank Sinatra one time at Caesar's Palace. I was we went in a night early. I was working for Diana Ross. And you're right, the security that's around him, and it's amazing. And just like, you don't know whether to say hello or just say bye-bye.
Hey, do any of you guys have any superstitions before you go on a stage, whether it's a big room or a comedy club or a private, corporate gig? Do you have anybody have a superstition before you go on? Do you say anything?
I never ever go on stage without putting on makeup.
Oh, is that?
That's kind of my pre-show, painting, and then you kind of get in your game head. And
right.
You too, right, Bobby?
I always say.
I used to put on makeup. We used to wear makeup back in the day. back in the day when you went out before the big stars down the road. She put on a little makeup, and the lady had me put on some purple lipstick one time. My makeup lady.
Shut up.
You had to look, because we wore tuxedos back then. We wore tuxedos back with the ruffles, remember?
Yes.
And we had dinner shows. Maryellen, you don't know about that. We had dinner shows in Las Vegas.
I do know.
Oh God. Oh God.
Cling, cling,
The
people are eating, cling, 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 eating and crazy.
Yes. Oh my
So, yeah.
gosh.
The only thing I would do before a big audience, before I'm opening for Cher or Julio or Dolly, the only thing just for my own, because I would say, hey, God, let me have some fun with this. And anything new comes in, let me remember it later, please. And then I'd go out.
Well, I was going to say that I do. I still to this day, I'm a believer. So before I go out every night, I do a prayer to myself or listen to some gospel music. I have to do that. So
Nice.
I'm hyped before I even hit the stage, whether that happens or not, because I love gospel music and I'm up and rolling, you know. So
I
do
love
that.
hearing stories like that.
Mine's different. I listen to Prince, a little different from gospel.
Well, I used to wait a second, Maryellen. I used to listen to gospel before I went out, but Prince was the song I would open up with, Cream. I would go from gospel to Cream. Nasty song he had.
I used to go on stage to Let's Go Crazy.
Oh, really? I go up to Uptown Funk.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
we all got a little piece of Prince in us,
Oh,
right?
look at us. Look at us.
I know it's something else we have in common. George, didn't you go to Israel?
Not yet. I want to
You
go. I was
haven't yet.
scheduled to go, and I got a gig at with Netflix doing something. Yeah, I was scheduled to go.
Yeah, Bobby and I, we did it together. I've done it 3 times. You should definitely
You
go.
did it 3 times?
Yeah, but don't go with Bobby because it's an international incident going with him.
So it's a lot of fun. Hey, I want to go.
Yeah, you should definitely do it. It's so funny, but Bobby's walking through the streets like going, I'm like, Bobby, we can't do that nowadays.
I'm gonna go with my friend Ron Pearson, he's been over a few times. Ron Pearson.
That's a great
Yeah,
guy.
I love him.
I'm gonna go with him, and because I used to be scared many years back when they had the little war. I was scared to go over. So, but I've been all over the world, but I never went to Israel. And they tell me it's so much fun and it's so nice.
Yeah.
Everyone hates each other. Everyone's got machine guns walking on the streets. Remember, Maryellen?
That's only because you were there, Bobby.
They only do that when you get there, Bobby.
We went shopping in the Shook. Maryellen, tell us about the Shook.
Oh my God, I love this shit because you can negotiate, right? And you can say,
Oh.
how much is this? And they go, it's $100. And Bobby's like, I'll give you $1.40. And I'm like,
Yeah.
You're crazy, Bobby. We do that.
It's a
we do that
farmer's
lot
market. You got to work them.
We do that a lot in Thailand and Bangkok. You know, you find yourself when you get home, you go like, why the hell was I arguing over a quarter?
Right.
you just get into it, right?
You get into it and it's a sport. Yeah, you really like it. It's challenging. So,
Hey, guys, look, quick question. How would you interpret comedy today?
Maryellen?
Silence, everybody's quiet.
I know, yeah. I'm just only because somebody asked me recently on a very serious interview I was doing. They asked me, they go, Bobby, when it comes to a comedy and you trying to be funny, was there something that you were missing in your life growing up that you had to overcompensate to be a funny comedian and be out there? Because there's no blueprint. You know, I want to be a doctor, a lawyer. I want to work and be a teacher. I said, no, I don't think so. I just knew that with the way I grew up, to make friends, to meet girls, I was just funny. You know what I mean? How about you?
Well, I think being from New York,
Yeah.
I explained to people that's what my parents did, right? They sat around the table and they told stories and everybody tried to one up everybody else. And that's just what you did. You told and you knocked each other and sarcastic, and that's how you get people to like you, right? But I think in our generation, people loved comedy, right? You grew up with it. That's what you said, Bobby. That's how you survived. And that's what we are. But I think a lot of times nowadays, people are doing it to be famous, you know?
Oh, for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, so it's not so much the love of comedy, because if I see a new person and they don't even know who Richard Pryor is, or they don't know who, you know, I studied comedy because
George
I
Wallace.
loved it so much. So I think that you're not a true comedian if you're not actually studying the craft and what's the difference between a storyteller and a political comic, or a, you know, if you don't do that, then you're doing it for a different reason that I think that we all did.
Yeah, very good. George, how do you interpret comedy now?
Well, what happened? I'm like, I grew up watching Red Skelton, Red Fox,
Me too.
Red Buttons, Pinky Lee, all people of color. No,
Mhm.
but all of those comedians as kids who watch the Tonight Show, and I wanted to be a comedian since I was 6. I would watch
Right.
comedians on the Tonight Show, and I would go back to school the next day and do their jokes, and everybody's happy. So I'm the guy that makes everybody happy. And all of us, when we see happy people, it makes us happier. So this is what I'm going to do. I get rewarded too. We get rewarded with laughs, not even knowing about money back in the day.
Right.
Exactly.
People happy. When you walked in the room, everybody go, "Oh, there he is." You know,
There he is.
they respected you, and to be able to do what you gotta want to do, I tell young comedians that you can't want to be a comedian. You gotta be a comedian because it's the most bullshit in the world what we do, and it's the hardest art form. And we just love what we do. You know, we just love it. Real comedians just love it. Just love it. My nephew was saying, "Why would you go to a comedy club after you just left $100,000 corporate gig?" I don't know. I did that in New York many a nights. I got to get off the stage. I got a spot at Catch at 12, right? For free.
I want to get that $15
And the free sandwich, right? I was doing corporate work. I was making a lot of money back in the day, but what we do, you gotta love it. It's my sex. It's my drugs. It's my everything. And when you're in it, no matter what, except this virus going around, I ain't in a hurry to go back doing it, but I'm doing it right now talking to you guys.
That's right. That's why we're here. Yeah. I miss hanging out. I miss hanging out in the green room for just
This is us hanging out.
There's nobody else that understands it like we do. So
I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
Well, isn't it great what we do? Because even though we won't be working for a while, all we need is laughs. All we need to do is sit around and, like I said, it's better than sex and drugs and anything. Let's just get together and just laugh it off. I wrote my book called Laugh It Off. Enjoy laughter.
Yeah.
George, was anybody in your family funny?
My mama and my dad. My dad was crazy.
Mine
they were Christian religious people. My dad would do shit like that. He'd piss you off sometime, you know. He'd do stupid stuff like, I piss him off. He'd do simple stuff like this. He would say to me, "I live up here. You live down there. Come up to see me sometime." Like that, but just piss me off. And he'd piss you off so much. Even if I got a spanking, my dad would turn to me and say, "Now, come on, give me a little smile, son. Give me a little smile." I'll be that really pissed. After he bust your butt, he says, "Give me a little smile. Give me a little smile." And it would just hurt. And he just bug you until you go, "Come on, let's go get some ice creams."
Maryellen.
My brother's very, very funny, but he just doesn't have the nerve to do it on stage. So he's still funny with all his friends, right? So he's a firefighter and a drummer in a band. So at the station, he's the jokey guy. He's the one that's making them all laugh.
Who influenced you, Maryellen?
Well, it's funny. My parents, they had comedy albums, and they had, and I would take Richard Pryor's album and put it in the Bill Cosby sleeve, and I'd sneak it out of the house and go to my friends so that we could listen to Richard Pryor, because nobody made me laugh like Richard Pryor.
Maryellen, my parents would go to church, and then we'd go into the living room and put on Red Fox. All the dirty people, So you had to sneak and do it back in the day. They were party records. And they think we weren't listening. They think we didn't know. We were smart kids going, "We're not supposed to do that." Where did they leave?
I remember a poor kid we were poor in Queens, New York. And I remember watching television, you know, with the thing on top of the
antenna,
And my parents worked. My mother was a waitress, my father. And I remember turning around always as a little boy and watching them, and they would laugh when a comic came on the Ed Sullivan Show. Or who was the guy in the Ed Sullivan? Oh, he talked about his mother-in-law, the older guy.
Was it not Shecky?
No, but all those guys made me laugh. But
all of those guys. Yeah, Milton Berle, all of those guys.
all of it. And I'd turn around and I'd look at them and they would be cracking up. And in their sad lives of working constantly and bringing up a family and making rent, if this is what made them laugh, and I just look at them, I go, I could do this. This is maybe I'd like to do something.
Bobby, wasn't that great to be able to do this? I can do that. And plus, at the time, like I said, I was repeating their jokes at the time, and it was working. Then you got to New York City, and you learn your own style. You know, it takes you 7 years to get into you. And okay, I got this thing working. Plus, you got the personality. I think the three of us have that personality. First thing we do is we hit the stage. I'm happy to be here.
That's
I know,
it.
Maryellen, I don't know about you, but me and Bobby, first thing you see is our teeth. We're laughing before we hit the stage. We're laughing before we hit the stage. You're not going to laugh by yourself. They're not going to let you do that. You can bomb by yourself, but you can bomb by yourself, but you're not going to laugh by yourself. That's people get pissed off.
No, that's for sure. Yeah, I know. I love it. I like people talking about their real life. Like I'm a storyteller, so I like that. So that's why I loved Richard Pryor, because he talk about himself. That's why I would laugh so hard at Harvey Korman and the Carol Burnett show. Help me.
Yeah, Carol Burnett show.
Conway. Thank you. Yeah, when Tim Conway would be in these embarrassing situations, like the dentist office or whatever, I would cry laughing, because that's what makes me laugh, embarrassing situations and humans trying to get out of them, right?
Did you ever give a thought that if we weren't doing comedy, what would we do? What would you do, Maryellen? What would you do?
I've been thinking about that a lot lately, Bobby.
And you need to think about it tomorrow.
Right.
What am I going to do tomorrow? Well, I used to be a hairdresser, so.
Were you?
Yeah, I used to cut comics' hair to like make ends meet, pun intended. But yeah, I would cut guys' hair on Long Island when I was starting out, and oh my gosh, I have a gig Friday, but I'm out of money. Don't you need a haircut? So yeah, and I know as you have a real job, quote unquote, civilian job, I used to say that I realized that I was wishing away 5/7 of my life, because you always wish for the day Friday, right, when you're off.
Right.
So the whole time that you're working, you're like, I just want the weekend. And I'm like, I don't want a job where I'm wasting 5/7 of my life, So now I feel like I've been on vacation for 35 years, I've been doing comedy.
35 years?
Yes.
Only got you by a few years. I've been doing it for 44 years. So you're.
I told you.
Okay.
Me too. 44 years. I've never been off 4 weeks in a row.
What was your question? What would I do?
What would you have done if you hadn't been a comedian?
Maybe today, maybe I could be like, my good friend is Joel Osteen. I could be a preacher, make some real money, stop this bullshit, and make some real. Those preachers make big money, don't they?
I know.
Oh my.
Yes, they do.
That was a friend of mine. That was a comedian, and he went to Joel Osteen. He's a comedian. He was an impressionist. John Gray is his name. Now he's the assistant pastor at the big church and has his own church, making millions of dollars.
Wow.
Yeah.
I could do that too. I'm going to say amen, everybody. I'm going to be a preacher, and God loves you.
God loves you. Now, fill out this form and add a donation.
And a donation, yeah. And see, all of the preachers are in the money. We got a preacher in Atlanta. His name is Creflo Dollar, but I call him Kepio Dollar. They make all of them. We got a doctor named TD. We got a preacher named TD Jakes. TD, top dollar TD. Got a guy in Los Angeles named Fred Price. All their names are synonymous with money. And they're making big money. These people come, and Joel Osteen, he's a good friend of mine. I call him the greatest comedian in the world. Guess what, Bobby? Guess what, Maryellen? He will not start a sermon without what? Telling a joke. He'll blink his eyes and go, I always like to start with a funny story. So once you tell a joke and you get people laughing, they will love you. Mm-hmm.
You could totally do that.
You're right. Who's that big guy who sells his books and he does that motivation talking? What's the big guy? He's real tall.
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
And I literally said, what's the...
I know, George with the assist.
I said, what's that guy's name? What's that? What's that noise? They go, it's Tony Robbins. He's giving one of his things. I said, do you mind if I go in? I went in. There had to be 2,000, 2,500 people. And I stood there and watched. After about 15 minutes, I said to myself, I can do this. Man, is this guy making money? And he's selling his book.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, a secret, Maryellen. Let me tell you something.
I'm listening.
Those guys on television, they're telling you how to become rich, how you can be successful in life. Guess what they're doing? You'll never become rich. You'll never become successful. But if you buy that book, guess who becomes successful?
Right.
That's great.
Right.
He's selling books.
I tell that to my dad. I tell my dad that all the time. He's like, no, there's this guy, and he's gonna make me rich, and he's gonna do. I go, if that would make him rich, he'd be doing it.
Right. He'd be doing it. Why would he share it with you?
Why? Right.
We're from New York. We know a con guy when we see him. Hello.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. I didn't hear you say that again. We're from New York. We know a con guy. Listen, I tell everybody, I'm a bullshitter. We all bullshitters, and we know bullshitters when we see another bullshitter.
Thank you.
Hey, Bobby, we don't know each other, but we know each other.
Thank you.
That's right.
You better believe it. Right. We've been known the bullshit come along for years in America, and they still don't get it.
I know. But don't you guys feel most comfortable when you walk into a club or something? There's other comics around. Oh, it's at our base. I feel most comfortable with my comic friends, Maryellen and George.
Right.
But we're just.
Are you crazy? Let me tell you something. We're such a tight-knit group. If you walk in with your wife and your husband, when you hit the club, you go like, "I'll be right back." You got to go to the comedy table. You say, "I'll be right back." You got to go to the comedy table. And your wife and husband, they got to know about this. They got to know when you get to a comedy club, you're now number 2.
Right.
Yeah.
I still go over to the Comedy Cellar when I'm in New York and I got a night off, sit at the comedy table. I go to Hermosa Comedy and Magic Club, sit at the
comedy table. You
table.
got to go to the back room.
Right.
I just told Jimmy Edwards, comedy is going to be very hard because there's no way I'm sitting in the green room at the Comedy Magic Club with 9 different comedians.
Right.
It ain't going to happen anymore.
Right.
That's too tight, too close.
I have a funny story. My husband, we were back in the Comedy Magic, right? We're sitting back there.
Right.
And Gary Shandling was back there and he was kind of holding court. And so I go on, I'm on stage and I come back and Gary is talking to my husband going, "That's the best tag anybody's written me in a long time," and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? I'm like, he's not a comedian. He's my husband. And he's like, well, it's a funny tag for my joke. And my husband was so proud. He's like, I wrote a tag.
Well, some of our best tags come from friends that sometimes they don't even know they gave us a tag.
Right.
That's
right.
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 We just go,
Right. I even say to him, can I have that?
Exactly. You're good. Have you heard that anywhere else? I go through that all the time. That's too good. Did you hear that somewhere else? Because I'm going to use that. Because I got an uncle, and he didn't even know he was funny. I do it all the time now because he would say things. He would ask you a question and answer it at the same time. I had to put that in my show. It became one of my favorite bits. He would ask you, how y'all get up here, walk? You know, what are your kids doing at home? No school today? Where your dad is? Where at work? What time you get off? 6 o'clock? And I just said, that's funny. Sometimes the most simple things are so funny you don't even know it sometimes.
And people can
How
relate.
about politics. You guys use politics in your show and your performance?
All the time.
I don't do political humor because I usually I'm on the cruise ship and you have to be, you have to be Switzerland.
Right. Oh, you're right. You're right.
I talk about myself and my family and then,
Which is good. Which is good. Yeah. You can't curse on that ship either, can you?
No.
No. And I only do adult shows, but adult Disney is so different. Yeah, you can't. It's so funny because I say out in the real comedy world, I'm considered a clean comic, but on Disney, I'm edgy.
Right.
Is that right?
I've never been edgy my whole life.
I had a lady tell me about 3 months ago in Las Vegas, I was doing some Trump jokes. After the show, she came to me, she says, so I didn't like your Trump jokes. How do you like your 401? Isn't it doing okay? Huh? And you don't like Trump, your 401, you're doing okay? I said, yeah, and it's doing much better now that you just gave me $200 to contribute to it.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. She was pissed. You know?
George, do you remember what's his name from Seinfeld?
Stop right now. Stop right now. Maryellen. How am
Yes.
I gonna remember? How am I gonna remember what's his name? People can say some stupid shit, right? What's his name?
You
How do
wise
people say
ass.
stupid shit like that.
Talking to Bobby is like being on a game show. It's like you gotta guess all your answers.
I got old.
Bobby,
From,
what's his name? Who you
From
talking
the
about?
Seinfeld show, from the Seinfeld, Larry David. Do you
Yeah.
remember, George, when Larry David used to go on the stage at the Improv and all the other comics would jam in just to watch? And he would go on, he would do a bit, and he'd look at the audience, they wouldn't laugh.
No, not tonight. Not
Fuck
tonight.
you. That was funny. Fuck you. That was funny. We
Yeah.
would cry.
Maryellen, do you remember that? Did you ever get
I
to see that
do.
at Catch Rising? And he would
Yep.
just walk off the stage sometimes. Fuck you people. He just
You
walk off
remember
the stage.
that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a few people like that. Like, well, Andy Kindler, he would have his, aside. He had more aside jokes to when things didn't work than he had actual jokes.
He still does.
There's
A lot of them still do.
Yeah.
No,
Wow.
it's funny because I was the judge in a comedy competition for younger comics. And so I was walking around the corner to go into the green room and I overhear, "Who's Maryellen Hooper?" And then somebody goes, "Oh, she's a 90s comic." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's like when we used to say, oh, they're a Catskills comic."
Right.
90s comic.
Hey, Bobby.
Yeah.
A 90s coming. Ooh, a 90s. That's pretty young, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I'm over here peeing right now.
Maryellen, I started in 1976. Jerry and I started at the same time together at Catch a Rising Star.
Right?
Yeah,
Over
well,
4 years.
I started in 85, but it took me, being on the road and it's like when I got the Comedy Award and all that stuff and on the Tonight Show, that was all in the 90s for me.
Right.
So that's what they were talking
But you're
about.
still an 80s comedian, okay?
I am, yeah, because that's where I started out. But you guys were ahead of me, right? Like there was you and Jerry and all you guys.
Bobby, didn't I just tell you people can say some stupid shit?
Yeah.
He said she started in the 80s, but you guys were ahead of us, right? Didn't we just tell you we started in the 70s?
That's what I said.
You said you just asked us, but you guys were ahead of me, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. I'm peeing right now.
We're old.
No, you weren't.
Somebody were to call us a 90s coming, we're going, yeah.
I'd like to thank Mr. George Wallace, a friend, a compatriot, a professional.
Hold on. My name is Dr. Wallace. Let's make that Dr. George Wallace.
George, where can people find you? Instagram, Facebook, just whatever.
You can find me on Instagram. I was voted the top 25 funniest tweeters on Twitter by Rolling Stone magazine. I'm always on Twitter at Mr. George Wallace. And I'm all over the place. If you come to Las Vegas, I think I'm going to be at the Westgate if I go back. I'm at the Westgate. Lovely place. We have a lot of fun. That's what Elvis Presley and Bill Cosby played. And I ain't touching nobody. I ain't touching nobody.
Don't touch nothing.
And I'd also like to thank one of the best storytellers I've ever worked with and known, and an honor to have you on this show, Maryellen Hooper. Where can we find you, Maryellen?
You can find me in the pantry. I go there to hide from the kids. You can find MaryllenHooper.com. It's very cryptic.
Hooper.
And I'm not a doctor like George. I'm just mom Maryellen, mom and wife Maryellen.
And a very special mom and a very special lady. And you can follow me online at bobbycollins.com and the Bobby Collins on Instagram. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Bobby's Viral Friends on Spotify, iTunes, or Google Play. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much.